Good day, Ghana, and welcome to the issues with me, Irbad Ibrahim. Many a times there is discussion surrounding how much Ghana spends on a booming infrastructure. There are questions around how much we spent on the Circle project, the Circle overhead, E-block schools that have been constructed across the country. And whatever project government carries out, there is a brewing debate about value for money. Yesterday, His Excellency the Vice President launched what we can now call the Ghana Building Code, and that will set the standards for security guarantees and also the standards of infrastructure in the Republic of Ghana. And to help us make sense of the new Ghana Building Code, we have in the studios Dr. Ebenezer Ankuma Jamera, and Doc is a chartered project manager and a lecturer at the University of Cape Coast. Sir, thank you so much for making time, Doc.
Thank you, Tim.
In due course, we'll look at a short clip of what His Excellency had to say. Where does Ghana stand in terms of infrastructure currently?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me in this studio. Ghana, as compared to the other countries, you could see that though we are doing very well, but we are behind in terms of the quality, in terms of how the project are being carried out, in terms of the project management, in terms of health, safety, and other issues. We are a bit, in fact, we are behind. I want to choose my words carefully. So I think this is in order that we are having a code that can control and regulate the system. Because many times, as you said, whatever happened, whenever there's a project, there are discussions as to the money, the standards, the days, whether it was completed or not completed, because there's nothing like a charter, okay, on project. When the project is charted, you know that the charter is from A to Z. So when we do all the checklists and we mark everything and everything is completed, they can see that, oh, this project is fully completed. But along the line, we don't know whether it has been completed or not. Contractors say have completed. This one says it has not been completed. And that's the problem we have in this country.
And there are two different issues we will have. One has to do with the taxpayers' money, and the other has to do with private and individual residential buildings. But Doc, give us a sense of the infrastructural deficit we have as a country. Do we have enough bridges? Do we have a good drainage system? The few skyscrapers we have in town, do they qualify us as a modern 21st century capital?
Anytime I pass by the airport area, I could be very happy because you could see well buildings. But when you just go just a bit after that, you could see that things are scattered. We don't have enough overhead bridges. You could see that many a times when people are crossing the N1 road, they look at the way they cross the highways, even motorway. We don't have enough bypasses. We don't have enough overhead footbridge that people can walk and cross over a road, and that is the problem we have. And as much as possible, as we are looking at the project with the taxpayers' money and the domestic issue, for the taxpayers' money, I should think that since it is a fully funded project, it should be a chartered project. It should be participatorily executed for the stakeholders to come into realization that, oh, this is the project that we are going to embark on. This is the beginning, this is the end. These are the expectations we should meet. And also, if projects are being done in a certain locality, and the chief and the people over there are involved, okay, the contractor is introduced to them, and there's a charter. I mean, there's a booklet showing, how the work should go. A copy is given to the local authorities. Copy is given to the chiefs and other people. Everybody can watch over what the contractor is doing. And for that matter, in fact, for every design, we have good engineers in this country. For every design, all these things are there. The walkway, the this way, everything is there. But it's during the execution that is partly completed. Okay? So now, who knows the engineer who even designed the work? Who can even ask the engineer? We end up asking the politicians. Maybe the politician might have not also gone to, maybe he's not an engineer, to see. So if the I mean, the community or where the project is being carried out, everybody knows that, oh, this is the engineer, this is the contractor, this and this and this is the end. I mean, we have a grand committee meeting, that's why I call participatory meeting. Everybody knows that this is the expectation. We can't dodge.
Okay.
You can't dodge.
Okay. That's just by way of prelims. We go for a short insert. When we come back, we engage Doc on what the procurement process is before these buildings spring up. Do stick and stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
Of the Ghana Building Code is to ensure adequate protection, public health and safety in the building and construction industry. The code covers new buildings or those undergoing renovations. It sets standards on the quality and durability of construction materials. Prior to the introduction of the new building code, Ghana did not have a uniform standard for construction industry to guide how developers should build. But the new building code will ensure uniformity in the construction industry by providing building professionals, developers and investors with common standards for public health, safety, fire protection, structural efficiency and environmental integrity. The new code is a benchmark against the Green Construction Code, an international building code, and will serve as a reference standard for designers, regulators, safety instructors and other stakeholders in the building and safety industry. The code also focuses on fire protection, plumbing works, electrical works and mechanical system building construction, high-rise buildings, underground buildings, stores, residential buildings and any other building in the country. The board chair of the Ghana Standard Authority, Dr. Kwesi Champon, described the building code as a document that will ensure that standards and public safety are not compromised. The Minister for Works and Housing, Mr. Atacha, said the building code signals the readiness of the government to put the country on a path of modernity.
This huge document that we have here will not benefit Ghana one coin if it's not enforced. It would have been a terrible waste of time to bring the whole acting president here to do this assignment and it's not enforced. So we should do everything in our power to enforce it.
A staff of the Building and Road Research Institute, Dr. Eugene Etieno, said the new code has given room for the use of products produced by the CSIR.
Some of the prominent materials considered in this new code are the use of pozzolana cement, adobe wall, lesser used timber species for construction such as bamboo and rattan. CSR BRI has been involved in the development of these locally available materials over the years and have wealth of experience in the production of these materials.
The Vice President, Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia, said the Ghana Building Code has come at the right time to give the country value for money and safety in the construction industry.
To guarantee the quality and durability of materials used in construction, buildings, schools, roads, hospitals, and all types of public construction works must use materials that are in line with the standards specified in the Ghana Building Code. Once specifications for building in accordance with the standards specified in the Ghana Building Code and construction materials utilized as specified in the code, it should be possible to have fairly accurate uniform costs for all types of construction in the country. This is definitely expected to help us in achieving value for money. The Ghana Building Code will make Ghana safer, and safety is very important.
According to the Ghana Standard Authority, henceforth, every construction works in the country must conform to the standards spelled out in the Ghana Building Code. In view of this, the authority has dispatched copies of the building code to district assemblies across the country free of charge.
You're welcome back. You're welcome back. We still have in the studio so Dr. Ebenezer Ankoma Jamra. Doc, this was just an insight about what happened yesterday. And people may ask, you mentioned some of the things that we look up to, and we heard His Excellency the Vice President. So Ghana decides we need a 50-kilometer road, for example. Where does the communication start? How is the procurement process like? And how do we ensure that in the final analysis there is value for money?
Yeah, normally, you see, the tender is opened and people submit their bills and they choose a good bill, yes. But the issue is that the ESL people have their standards there.
What is ESL?
Architecture and Engineering Services Department, Limited. They normally what they do the quantities, and then they invite people to bid for, and they compare. But you see, the problem has to do with now the person who has been appointed to work or who has been selected, the lucky contractor, is given the letter without the knowledge of many of the stakeholders involved. Are you getting me? Now the person goes to buy the item, because if all of us will know that this is the project, this is the charter, and this is how much is going to be spent, this is the cost of cement, this is the cost of iron sheet, this is the cost of this, but all the material costs are fixed there. And if there, overheads costs, if there are some sort of increment, we all know, we are all aware. Where will the money pass? The money will not pass anywhere. All that I'm trying to say is that it should be, participatory executed. The document must be deposited at every particular interested area. For instance, if there's a road, as you said, number one, where the road is passing, the local authorities, the chiefs and other people should also get a copy. It shouldn't be only between the ministry or the ASO and the contractor. The local assemblymen and the queen mothers must also be involved. We all know how much we are going to spend. We all know the type of materials that we are supposed to use. Now, you pay somebody to go and inspect whether the material being used is quality one. The person goes and might not go and inspect, but write a good report. But at the end of the day, we don't follow the procurement process. Or at the end of the day, we twist it. That's what I can say about it.
There is a whole ministry in charge of procurement. So if there is this due diligence and rigorous checking and cross-checking, where then comes the allegation of overpricing? How do people say this costs the taxpayer 3 times what it would have on a normal day?
Sure. The administrators of the procurement authorities, they are not engineers. We have maybe few engineers here. Now, the problem is about the human resource of the contractor or the human resource in charge of the project. Now, you heard the SSS talking about occupational health and hazard and whatever it is. How many times do we even see safety officers going to check on road projects? Now, how many times do you see people going to check on the quality of the material? Apart from the money being hijacked, the quality on the road to or on the project to is less. That's how come buildings can collapse and whatever kill people. Now, if then the contractor is giving strong warning or undertaking, bring us your engineers. Let us. All engineers must be engineers who have been gazetted by the state. If there's an engineer working on the project and has not been gazetted by the state, the contractor don't use him. Measures may be put in place in such a way that, if there's a problem, that engineer's license is going to be revoked. Per that no engineer, if the thing is 5 cedis, how would you say it is 10 cedis? Me, I will not do that because I've been gazetted. And for that matter, if I don't perform due diligent work, I will be punished. But here's the case: the human resource of many of the contractors are the people who are not in any regulatory body. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
We have got an institution of engineers, how many of them are there? We have got an institution of surveyors, how many of them are there? We have got an institution of geoscience, how many of them are there? So they are being employed by the contractors, and they do work anyhow.
Okay. And Doc, I'll come back to you in the studio. We are joined on the phone by Director of Communications for the Ghana Standards Authority, Dr. Kofi Amponsah-Begiako. Doc, thank you so much for making time.
My pleasure.
And Doc, what is the interface between the GSA and buildings? Because for most people, the Standards Authority has more to do with more mundane things than procurement processes and mammoth government projects. Where lies the interface?
Well, the interface is very simple. So long as people in the construction industry will have to buy materials that will have to be used in the development, in the design, and in the actual building of structures within that industry, Ghana Standards Authority will have to come in, because we are mandated by law to develop standards for all products in all sectors of the economy. So when you come to the building and construction industry, we have materials. The materials we are going to use, how suitable are they to the environment? The designs you are introducing, how suitable and acceptable are they in line with specifications and standards? The structures you are putting up, are they allowed? There are certain ingredients you have to bring in, like lifts, like hoistings, and so on. All these things will have to be in line with the specified standards. And that is why Ghana Standards Authority has common interface with the building industry.
Doc, for most people, the question is, what level of involvement is the Standards Authority allowed? Are you allowed to sit through procurement meetings in the procurement ministry, for example?
No, we are never allowed to sit through procurement. You see, we are not procurement officers, so we will not pretend to be as such. But what actually happens is that for the construction industry, we are interested in public health, public safety, and public welfare. All these things are materials or products that will have to be purchased to achieve that purpose. And the purchase will have to be done according to the standards. So we come in to develop the standards and leave it to specialists in the building industry. For example, iron rod. We will not be with you when you are going to buy your iron rod or cement and so on. But it is our duty to come out with standards on cement. It's our duty to come out with standards on iron rods. And iron rods have different sizes, different specifications. The tiny ones have the standards that go with it. The huge ones for construction of high buildings also have their standards. When we talk of cement, we have different types of standards for different purposes. So Ghana Standards will come in at all these levels. The only thing is that we are not like procurement officers, but the procurement officers are expected, and indeed every other person is expected to be guided by the standards. You don't just go and buy as a procurement officer cement or something because it is cheap. No, we don't do that. You go by the specified standard, because here we are thinking of public health and safety.
Okay, Doc, maybe snappily 2 questions. One on the scope of your mandate and the other on monitoring. It is not a hidden secret that many of the projects we undertake with the taxpayers' money has raw materials imported from outside. What level of presence and visibility does GSA have in the ports to at least to do a cursory check of the quality of the materials that come into the jurisdiction?
Yes, thank you very much. Standards Authority deals with items that are either locally manufactured or imported. So let me explain the two. When it comes to locally manufactured items, be they iron rods, be they cement, be they whatever that is used in the construction industry, we have what we call a certification program. And under that program, we expect the products that have been produced here to be brought here for testing. So we go around ourselves, take samples, and get them tested so that we will know whether they meet the requirements in the standards or not. Where they do not conform to standards, we tell them to withdraw, or we connive with the police and others to remove them from shops in the country. And the same thing is done under what we call import inspection. Once the products are coming from outside, they must meet our standards specified here. So we have men at the port, we have a lot of people at the port, and anything that comes in, they must take samples and test where they are substandard, be they electrical products, be they some other imported items meant for the construction industry, we do not allow them to come in. Sometimes whole container loads of items imported for the construction industries are seized, and they are never allowed to enter the country. When this happens, some people begin to say that we are being wicked, we are being insensitive, but that is not the issue. We try to protect consumers or users of the building materials that are imported into the country.
Doug, finally, and kindly keep it short and sweet for me. How much of independence does the authority have, especially a few months before a major election? Very mediocre materials are used to construct roads to win elections. So when those roads are ripped off, who is held accountable? And are you giving any biting teeth based upon the mandate you have to hold people accountable?
Well, the Ghana Standards Authority is a very independent body. We have the power to do anything that we consider fit or unfit in this country. What happens is that even in electioneering periods, we try to examine products that come into the country. But when standards are there, its implementation depends on a number of organizations, a number of procurement officers. That is where the problem is. So we do our best, but implementation is a collaborative effort, and that is where people play tricks and don't do what is right. But as far as Standards Authority is concerned, we try to keep the standard wherever we are.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kofi Amponsah Bediako, Director of Communications, Ghana Standards Authority. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
And Doc, a very glowing tribute to what the GSA does and how things should be so smooth. But you are people on the ground, you are experts that independently monitor some of these projects. Do you think the Standards Authority is allowed the free hand to ensure the quality we deserve?
I say mostly, practically, they don't come to, you can't see people coming to the site to inspect. Elsewhere that I went, when materials are on site, they bring Standard Authority people to come and check and stamp them. They can use this quality.
Okay.
Now, this thing can work when the engineer supervising the project is a gazetted engineer and he's tied to the project in such a way that whatever goes wrong, he's going to be punished. So if I know, like there was a harsh, when they were building the Babylonian Empire, about 3000 BC, there was a harsh building code that was established. If something happens and somebody dies, the person in charge, the engineer in charge,
would be killed.
To be killed.
Do we need that now? Will it be helpful?
Yeah, we are not saying we should kill them, but at the end of the day,
strip them a little.
We should. For instance, I mean, the Malcolm disaster. You know, people are dying through accident on site. People are losing their
limbs.
Yes, their legs and some parts. People can't even enjoy. Look at what happened at the Malcolm. That some of them can't even socially cannot even associate themselves with other people because I mean the body has been mutilated. They will leave that person. So who is the person who gave the inspector? You know, we have something called Building Inspector Division. The building inspectors are in US very strong people. You can't do something without an inspector checking and making sure that it is correct and use it. Here, the building permits are given. When something happens to the project, the building inspector is not even called to come and answer anything. If he's called to answer to the Supreme Court, let one or two building inspectors go to the court and let them be jailed for just 1 week. You see that things will change. Okay, so until the time we concentrate our human resources, I don't normally want to blame the people at the top. We have a nice booklet, for instance, what Vice President His Excellency.
Very glossy and colorful. Very colorful.
Now it is being sent to the district. We have project managers there. We have chartered project managers there. Now the engineers, what is the basic or what's the level of their knowledge? The building inspector division. How many times are they sent for training? Normally, you see the big men going for training outside the country, leaving the people there. They are doing the job. You will see it, but how would they understand it? You see, talking and understanding is different thing altogether. You may say go and do this, I may not understand. So if some of these junior officers are also taken outside the country to also go and see how things are being done, you not come and issue permit to anybody to build. Talking about the taxpayers' money for project, how many chartered project managers are being engaged to supervise the project? We have engineer, we have the designer, we have the planner, we have the foreman. Do you have a chartered project manager? No. You have a project. So who is looking at the charter to see that the charter has been met? And be mindful and also be aware that in this type of institution, is very technical. We have the technical men to explain, to come up with this. How can lawyers and policy makers understand the whole system? The building code started a long time ago. Now that it has been launched in Ghana, we need implementers. We need people who can make sure that it is done. The building inspectors in all the assemblies, how many of them are members of a corporate body like Ghana Institute of Engineers or Institute of Engineering Technology? How many of them are members? If he's not a member, how can you put him there? Because he's not being regulated by anybody. He can mess up and go. But if you're a member, and every year you are being renewed your membership, and every year you are supposed to do some course, enhanced programs,
capacity building.
You got somebody and he became an inspector for about 20 years, no training. So it has come to the point in time that this country, if you want to actually implement what is in that beautiful book, the engineers must wake up.
Okay, pretty shortly we'll shift to the discussion from a governmental level to a domestic level where we have so many challenges.
Yeah.
But you made a good point that you don't want to blame those at the top, those are the politicians. But mind you, Doc, there is a level construction project that needs to be executed.
Okay.
The first people you look around for are party people. After you've gotten a politician, he decides who the suppliers are, who brings the chippings, who does this. So does that mean we should just be numb to the idea that this is the root cause of the problem and policymakers should not dabble where they are not experts?
Good. Now, me on my side, if the thing comes and is not certified, I won't use it. If you won't give me a project, I will go away. I don't have a problem because I know that I'm being regulated. The reason why I'm putting the pressure on the executives of the business is that if the politician has brought a supplier, he has brought a thing, you are going to use it. You have to make sure that you are not using it. Now, if you are being sacked, there should also be measures to know that why was he sacked. And also there should be, checks and balances. I didn't use the project because even as he was saying, the same cement, we have a cement which is good for this project, cement which is good for foundation, and even the way we mix it. So if the person putting pressure, you see, this country, most of us the engineers are afraid of the politicians. And because we are also having fear of the future, what are we going to chop? We want to ride in big cars, we want to have big money, and for that matter, whatever it is said to us, we have to obey. But the whole reason is that those people are not part of the regulatory bodies in the country. Because if me, Engineer Jamra, you come and say, hey, do this and that and that and that, I won't do it. So you take your job from me, I don't care. But if there's a way that we should go for arbitration, we have to go. So the father, I remember a certain boss, I don't want to mention his name, a politician, the big boss brought, he was a regional surveyor, that signed this plan for me. He said, man, this plan does not meet standards. So I won't sign. What can you do? He was sent to your transferred. And
he was transferred. So that is the challenge.
So when we come together as engineers, we should be able to stand firm. And if one of our brother is removed from a project, if you come and call, I'll ask why. And if possible, my brother should certify that, oh, I want to leave this project on these grounds.
Doc, let's not be idealistic. Let's be realistic.
Yes.
Your brother you are talking about that you want to solidarize with, already he wants an opportunity to do what you
want. Exactly. Sack it for the project.
Yes.
That's why I'm saying that the regulation should come. Everybody should now be part of the institution that we regulate. And when we are regulating ourselves, I see, lawyers have some lines. When you are taking your job from a certain lawyer to another lawyer, the second lawyer will request that the first lawyer bring him a letter, or or they go and reconcile that you don't owe him, you don't do anything. But we engineers, because we want to follow our stomach. Somebody has been trained, somebody is a doctor, a professor in engineering, and he has never joined any engineering body before. So he doesn't even know what is going on. But gradually, when we begin like that, my brother, things will be smooth and things will be nice. Because engineers in this country know a lot. And when we go outside the country, they are being, what do you call it?
And finally, on the government thing, and there's this talk of local content. And many of the mammoth projects are done by Chinese contractors. German contractors and all that. So where is the thin line when you say this is this should have this quantum of local content?
In fact, before I come to that, if you don't even take it, very soon most of the project will be given to the foreigners. Because the foreigners, what I've realized about them is that when you give them the job, they do it to perfection. Even if not perfect, they do the job and do it nicely. All the projects that you see on finished project mostly are caused by the local men. So if we are there, I should be given the contract, and I will bring in the foreign expert to come and add to, because though we are not there, how many engineers have traveled outside the country to see what is being done somewhere? So it's good to bring foreigners to meet. But normally, no, the bigger stakeholder or the bigger portion should be our local men. If we are disciplined enough that we are not going to enjoy the money. Look at it. When you are given a contract, your friend can, hey, Charlie, what did you do? Hey, $2 million project. Hey, Charlie, you see, you buy a car, we'll do this. We are thinking about how we are going to spend the money.
And you've actually not started the project.
Yes.
How much of it does government give of our money, taxpayers, up front, for you to mobilize and start? I hear you need to raise an LC, a letter of credit with a bank, and then later you have financial clearance for the finance ministry to pay you. How much of the money would be given up front for a contract or a project?
No, for now, normally they ask you to begin first. You will have to organize yourself, because the issue is that if you don't have the material, you don't have the base, you don't have the money. You see, if I'm given the power, most of the contractors will even go off, because you can see somebody as a contractor has a certificate and he has no machine, nothing. So whatever you're going to give him, he's going to use that money to sources for some of those machines. So the government should cut down most of the contractors and deal with the people with that. So if you're a younger contractor, you want to come, just join somebody, and we should be able to categorize the type of project given to who contractor. And the problem that we are having is what you said. The party person is giving the contract. He chooses somebody. Somebody might even have certificate. They go and find somebody who has a certificate and work with. If you continue to run the country like this, it's not going to be fair. So even if the party is going to be favored, there should be a condition. Give it to a contractor who does reputable work, so that the young ones will also learn from the process. Okay, at least if you have some small engineering knowledge, some small basic whatever it is, and you're staffing, who are your staffs? You provide now. At times somebody will come, Doc, let me use your certificate and attach, or your CV, let me attach it to a project. I say, how do I do that?
So there's a lot of rot in the system.
Yes. So the contractor will go and organize some people and takes a CV. So one CV is
there's forgery. People actually forge certificates and get contracts.
Yes, and get contract. You see, the thing that they don't have, they say they have, and they get the contract. And when the contract is given to them, now that most of the project, they will say, do it and raise certificate. It doesn't have money. So you see, one type of sand will be dumped alongside the road, assuming the contractor is on site. The contractor will not come in the night, but bang. You see, there's always health and safety checks that should be done, carried out in every project. When you even put sand along the road, it should go off. They should weed along the road and put the sand down there. But now look at how it is. You go, and if you're not careful when you're driving at night, you just
hit and you.
What happened to Ebony? I'm not trying to remind it. You see, it was somebody's mistakes, somebody's fault. What has happened to the contractor who was working on the road? Even the tipper truck, that tipper truck person who was driving, what has happened to him? Because he just went and tipped it. Nobody cares. Nobody checks me. Let me tip it to anywhere again, then go away. You see, and somebody, the other I was going to, I think in Sunyani, a certain number took me. In the next 30 minutes, the man had died. Because he has to crash this kind of the contractor are put
a heap of materials
there, and nobody cares about it. Okay, so if you, the contractor, we know your status, JAMB engineer is going to work. He has been handed over to the local community. DC, you are here. Nananum, you are here. Badbo, you are here. Fire service, you are here. They are all stakeholders.
Environmental protection,
you are there. The standard, you are there. You have a small meeting. The inception meeting, we introduce ourselves, we all brief for each other. When the project begins, everybody is aware. So you, the contractor, if you don't have any project, if there's a problem, you find you at your office. How many contractors have offices over there? There are some contractors have offices. They have machines, and since they don't belong to party A or party B, they can't get a contract. And that is what, as a country, should move together. Because when you go to outside the country, those things are there. If somebody dies on your project, you are going to face a lot of. If somebody loses his or her materials, you are going to pay for this. There are some measures that might be put in place, and we should stop when an engineer makes a mistake. We should stop begging, and using brother, my sister, my this. Me, I'm saying that the problem can be solved when we tackle all the engineers, and I'm happy that we are saying that for now. Very soon, if you are not an engineer or if you are not fully gazetted, you can't work on, and they should start that one, especially the building inspectors. Okay, at this juncture, viewers can join us, not through calls but via text on our WhatsApp line 055 61034 055 61034. Engineer. Sole sourcing is a common cliche we hear all the time. Maybe finally on the governmental level. What does it mean, and how injurious is it to the quality of output in terms of government projects? Yeah, sure. So at times it's good, at times it's not good. It depends on the intention. Now, there's a project to be carried out, let's say this type of project. And we know that maybe the person who is expert in that project is there. Now, somebody may have all the machinery that could be used to carry that project. He has done somewhere that we can compare. To me, is good. But whereby we so source some people, and that person has nothing, no expertise, no material resource, nothing, but say source. Now, what even happens is that one person may have 3 companies. So the 3 companies does things A, B, C, company A, company B, belong to the same person, and he submits a bill, and for that matter, one will be selected. Meanwhile, it's the same person. Okay, I will announce the WhatsApp line the quadruple 5 05555 61034, and that will pop up shortly on your screens. Doc, let's now drift a little away from government and look at the real estate generally. It's a shame a capital city like Accra, anytime it rains torrentially, everybody gets scared. What are we not getting right with the building and construction industry? You see, the code wasn't there. It was there till 1940s, 60s. It's just renaming. That has been enhanced. So everybody can do anything. Nobody cares. It's about the tata I was talking about. Now it rains in Ghana, and everybody is afraid, especially in Accra. Who was constructing the building, the filling station? What was the specs given to the person? Did the person, actually engage, or did the person actually use the rightful people to do that? All because in Ghana, whatever happens, it is the laws that has Yamino Dema, Yamino Oji, and for that matter, everything is the laws. But God gave us this world to take care of it. He gave us sense, knowledge. What comes into fuel station construction? The environmental people must go there. The architect must go there to design the drains. So when they are able to do it well, nothing will, when it rains, everything channels. Me, where I have my house, you can't see any filthy, what do you call it, wastewater in the house. Because everything has been channeled to appropriate place. Now here they came the country, you pass somebody, behind somebody's house, you see bathroom water, and all sort of things. The country is beautiful in the few areas, but just behind all sort of things. Now we don't have the charter because the engineer might not even know. We don't have any source of, I mean, harsh. I'm talking about the word harsh. You see, discipline or punishment on any engineer whose project caused a disaster. Any engineer whose project that he supervised caused a disaster. And it should be mandatory that anybody doing a construction in terms of filling station or some of these major what do you call it, commercial project, you must have an engineer to supervise the project, and that engineer whose name is also at stake. So when there's a project, you know, has rule, names are called, whose fault, we tackle the person. We can do better. Why that Ghanaians abroad are doing very fantastically well? Because over there the laws are there. No spare. Okay, but here the laws are not there. I can park anyhow. I can remove. You see, now the clean that they do along maybe once a month, they'll clean the gutters and put it behind the gutter.
And in no time it will
go back again. What kind of human beings are we? At times I get a little bit passionate on some of these issues. At times when we are building, you're the same level, the person want to expand the floor at the top without taking into consideration the necessary measures. You can do that, but did you take into consideration the necessary measures? At times, the iron walls he was talking about, the type of iron walls in a certain project, you see, you become, what is happening? Who is in charge? And that is why their local government, the district assemblies are there. We have building inspectors, we have the district engineers. What are they doing? If we don't have enough, the government should employ more. So that every project, there's a name attached to it that this is Engineer Jamal who is supervising this project. This is Engineer Quaid who is supervising this project.
Doc, what the Lands Commission does is it only certifies and then gives you a land title.
Yeah.
As to what happens next, maybe once in a while AMA may come and say stop work, produce permit. And then the owner of the land and the chiefs who own the stool that owns the land, they don't even specify that for this quarter, we don't think the ground is solid enough. We won't accept multi-story buildings here. Nobody sets the standards. So where do we start?
You see, it's all human resources. Even project, geologists must come in to assess the ground's condition to absorb your building or to contain your building. The building you are coming to put up can the ground. So when you're going to get land, we check. We normally go to the Lands Commission to check. It is free, then we take it. But we forget that we should also check from the town country planning that I'm going to do this project. Can what I'm going to do, be okay with that particular grounds? We don't check from the what they call the geological survey department. We don't check on other things. Then the Lands Commission also certify because they are mandated to certify if the place is free, give it to you. But this is the time that we should also make sure that whatever project that is being carried out, it is the engineer who must, this is engineer who should collect all your documents. Okay, now the Lands Commission says the land is free, no litigation. Okay, accepted.
Okay.
Go to the planning office, town country planning, go for their permit and make sure that whether this project can fit that project. Okay, then they bring it. Okay, go to fire service. Go to environmental, go to this, go to all these. When all these documents are okay, are the local communities also in agreement to that project? We are going to build a mortuary. We are going to build a factory with the local communities. That's why we have to empower the Nananum to also agree.
The Nananum you say, and some of the chiefs, with due recourse and respect and courtesy, some chiefs sell one land 15 times, 20 times, and then they cut corners, and so it becomes very difficult for them to become trustworthy stakeholders in the whole of this.
Yeah, I did my PhD in the land conflict resolution. Now, you see, I always come to the personnel. The chiefs, most of them are not enlightened. How many times do we organize projects? The Minister of Chiefs, is this chieftains? How many times do they organize courses for the chiefs to educate themselves about land issues? Now the chiefs go and pick any surveyor. Now everybody is calling himself a surveyor. One the person can use the Doomsaw machine, we call it Doomsaw, the GPS. They come. But it's the duty of you, the chief, to inspect the certificate of the surveyor you are employing. At times, the chiefs, they don't know much about it. So all that they are there is that, okay, it's free, okay, let me sign. At times, they even complain. Wahala, there's money. Hungry for money. But I was suggesting on another station that if, for instance, in my community, the government was, okay, I'm buying this 100 acres from this chief. Now, everybody who wants land, come and buy from me. Okay. Because I'm the government, I have bought it. The government does the roads, it does electricity, he plans the whole things well. It's a chartered community. Okay? You would have to go and buy from that. So the government, but fortunately, when the government go for the land, many a time, if I'm not lucky, and there's exit of another, there's exit of the current government,
and there's a new government,
your land you may not get your money. That's why most of the chiefs are not willing to give their land to the government. But then now here I'm selling my land at least 4,000 per plot. Okay, I'm government, I'm coming. I'll give you 2,000, but I'm buying about 2,000 or 20,000 plots. You give it to me. I construct roads. The government may have all the capacities. And even this one, there are a lot of people outside there who want to come, even partner the state to do some of those things. Everybody would love to be in that community whereby we have arranged. That's why Senate's flat, another flat, everybody want there. Because at times, I mean, the way the place has been organized is very, very nice. Everybody want to stay in an estate. Okay, now if the government is not doing that, he will go and buy. He will buy. How much is he being paid? That's where the problem is coming from. So is if the chiefs, you know that this surveyor is good. This surveyor, you have your certificate. This surveyor is this. If there's a problem, the surveyor who work on the land must also be questioned. Why is it that one land, it has gotten several ownership? Why have gotten several ownership? In the last commission too, at times you go there, one plot has been registered by 3 people. One plot has been registered by 3. There was a time I had a search. You search and the land is free. You buy it or you acquire it. The next day you are going to register. It is for somebody 10 years ago. So what was this that they couldn't tell you? It's all about personnel. And when we begin punishing personnel, when we begin using good personnel, things will go down.
Doc, maybe in future, if we get the opportunity, we'll look at rent control for us to see where we fall short. Because you buy a parcel of land, all you do is get a foreman, he mobilizes laborers, and you start doing something. And there are times you can see red markings boldly inscribed that stop work. This is a waterway. The person says, okay, let me go and pay, and then continue the project. So there is no enforcement. And do you think we will reach a point where we tackle the traffic situation in Ghana? Would you also blame it on the lack of proper planning of the city? Is Accra big enough in terms of land size to accommodate the 4 million or so people that are in it, or it boils down to lack of planning in terms of construction?
Yeah, my brother, we have a good plan, but indiscipline. Somebody is aware, and in this country, it is those people who have money, those people who have power, who most at times create the problems. Well, I have money, I'll go and buy off. I have money, I'll go and do this one. And those are the problems we are facing. So there will be the time, and if a certain government says, okay, or you are making a participatory government, and if you build on a water course, we should demolish it. If you're demolishing, no problem. you come and cry, we demolish it. Because of you, a lot of people will die. If you're able to do that, and the person who was there, the DC, the planning officer, the building inspector, who were there, saw the project go on, they couldn't do anything. They must also be accountable. They must be called to court. And at times, just 1 week or 2 weeks or 1 day, okay, if the person is even banned for some time, okay, you are just don't do this work again. At least it will actually streamline something. But the person will go, the building inspector will send his boy to the side, inspect it, then they won't go there again.
In closing, we're about to just wrap up. What do you see the future of real estate, especially in Accra, which is a great source of concern? And some have said, Doc, and the city is developing horizontally. We need to develop it vertically. So I have purchased the land. It's mine. It's a family plot. Or it's a building that has been there for the past 70, 80 years. And what kind of mandate can be created? So instead of one family living in a sprawling compound, we can have multiple families because we are developing vertically.
Yeah. The high-rises building should come and stay. You know, when you acquire land, I don't want to use the word buy because you can't buy land. When you acquire land, it is the three-dimensional, okay? The left, right, and the top. Now, in overseas, many countries, they sell or they manage or they specify the height at which you can build. Then they can give the height to somebody to also continue. So the fact that you've bought or you've gotten a land or you've acquired land of one plot doesn't mean, and you have the restriction, doesn't mean that you can do that to a certain level. Are you getting me? And very soon, when the other time we went to the World Cadastre Summit and the German people came to give account that they are now doing 4D cadastre, 5D cadastre. And we are here doing 2D cadastre. We're not even up to 3D.
What is cadastre?
The cadastre is the recording of legal informations about the land. Or it's a charter of a land.
So we talk about only the ground?
Yes.
Then what is in the air, the water space, we don't really consider it.
Meanwhile, in advanced countries, they've passed that level. They now talk about 5D. Now, Germany said they are on the way to 5D. Are you getting me? We have a lot of people with rich content. Our big bosses should pave way for them. We should include them. Give your project to your party member or whatever it is. There should be code attached with specifications, regulations, as it has come out from the Honorable
His Excellency the Vice President. Yeah.
So that specification must work, and you must ensure that it's working. If you're able to do that, it will help us. And the real estate, you see, now the problem is that people don't have money in the country, and for that matter, when he has a building, when he has a plot, he just build according to his own. That's why the government should also help the real estate developers, so that people will buy from them. They can do high-rising buildings in a nice community, gated community.
No, but finally, gentrification is what is taking place now. These real estates take some privileged parcels of land and they build nicely, but only the rich can afford to be there.
That's the problem. They call it affordable housing. So the government should step in, and there should be regulations. Because when you go to South Africa here, it's easy to buy apartment than to buy plot, because they have regulations. It's only the real estate people who normally acquire land. And if someone is going to acquire land, it's a rich person. Because by the time you go through the fire, you go through the geological survey, you go through all this process, your money is finished. So it discourages the people, individuals, to acquire them. So they will only acquire the building from the real estate people. But they will take their time to do all. It's about the time that we learn, we prototype what other countries are doing. Don't let us go far. Go to South Africa here. Let us learn from what they are doing. Within some few 6 months, a lot of high-rising buildings spring up. They use the other type of materials.
Doc, we have very little time, and you answer this in 20 seconds. How egregious, how bad is it for property owners to set up a house and there's no place of convenience in it? A house that has about 20 tenants, 30 tenants, and there isn't a single place of convenience. The idea of KVIPs, isn't that archaic?
as a cake. And all is about the government. That one. Ensure that we have such facilities. So if it is about 10 buildings, why don't you, 10 rooms, why don't you collapse 2 of them and make it a toilet? It's about the enforcement of the law. Because we have these sanitary inspectors around. If they go and they see that, oh, this is a building, we have about 10 tenants, and we have only 1 toilet, they should report it to assembly immediately. Well, now there's a way of doing it nicely. Within 1 room, you can have others. So that they will enjoy, rather than always going to the KVIP and the public toilet.
Thank you so much. A very spirited discussion we had in the studios. Engineer Dr. Ebenezer Nkuma Jamra is a chartered project manager and a lecturer with the University of Cape Coast. Doc, thank you so much for making time. Thank you so much. Till we come your way next Thursday from 4 to 5, even though you can catch a repeat of this program on Mondays from 1 to 2 p.m. Stay blessed and keep watching GTV. Have a good day.